So before I let you know what my thoughts were about the fourth season finale for AMC's Fear the Walking Dead, I Lose Myself, let me tell you about the two basic points I look for in a season finale. One, how well are you wrapping up the storylines or most of the storylines from the season, and how well are you positioning the show for the season that's going to be coming? In this regard, I feel like Fear the Walking Dead did, I guess, as good a job as possible wrapping up what I thought was a really mixed bag of a season of a lot of potential and hope, but I think it's really positioned itself well for a very strong fifth season and can get around to actually defining itself. Now, let me start off with some cons, then I'm going to go to some pros. First con, Morgan's decision making. I know the arc of this is about Morgan being able to be with people again and being able to trust people again and everything like that. But honestly, I found it a really hard buy to get into this whole, well, Morgan's going to go back to being the old Morgan if he lets Martha, filthy woman, die or doesn't try to save her or anything like that. With the amount of attempts she's maliciously made and the fact that she's clearly not sane and how many people that he has risked to save her, I get his arc and I understand it. But there's also a part of me that can't help but look upon it and be like, it's also a little selfish. You know, and especially when you have the possibility of getting these people to a better area. Now, I like how it wrapped up in the end, and I'll get to that in a minute or two. But again, I just wasn't buying into it. There was just a lot of head scratching and a lot of like, I don't want to say about Morgan, like, why did you do this? You know, you deserve this, because the character's great, and overall, I just love where things are going. But yeah, the decision making on that end was a bit much. I thought the story itself was stretched out a little bit. I thought it just could have been resolved in a regular length episode. But the fact that it went extended, I thought wasn't really necessary. Martha's living as long as she did. I wasn't sure I was buying into that too much. I think crazy can get you only so far in the Walking Dead world. Ethanol, it can't be taken out of the container, can't be drank off the ground, it can't be taken out of the bullholes. I'm not a scientist. I don't know how any of this works. I'm just wondering why it seemed like it was such a lost, defeated cause at that point. And the whole beer as a savior concept, it just seemed so symbolically heavy-handed. It just felt like we got just beaten over the head with it. It's like, the memory of Jim. Let's find some way to symbolically save Jim and redeem Jim and make Jim not be such an a-hole that he was. And that bugged me because I liked the fact that Jim was an a-hole. That didn't mean he didn't have redeeming qualities. It didn't mean he didn't have things going for him. But as I said in my previous review, I found him to be one of the more realistic and relatable characters in the Walking Dead universe. So those are the things that bugged me. The pros that I took out of it, Tonya Pinkins, yet again, I'm sorry to see her go. I know, Big Bad, you live on borrowed time in the Walking Dead universe, but Tonya Pinkins was just fantastic, hands down. It's just no other ways for me to phrase it. It was a tour de force from the time she was introduced to the time Morgan finally put her down. Mo Collins and Daryl Mitchell, if you're going to give characters their own online side series or web series or anything like that, I'm going to recommend them as your front runners. They are entering so much cool dialogue into the Walking Dead lexicon of just loving it. So more stuff centered on them would be fantastic. Jude and Dorie, you'd have to be a heartless soul to not love the moment when they kissed. And just the way they were acting with Charlie when each of them, were downing their beer. And even Charlie's reaction, I like that potential little family dynamic that's going on there. Of course, Alicia and Victor, and the Victor seeing Alicia now as the replacement for her mother as his drinking buddy, I just thought was so sweet, and it meant so much to that image that we got very early on in the season and how that would play out, and it really played out beautifully, and I love that. The future, I love where it's situated for the fifth season. This idea where they have the potential to have the best of both worlds, to be both stationary and mobile. I think that explains why they would need such a large cast, because you're really going to be getting possibly two different series. And I have to say, I like where that's going. I also like the idea of using Al's videos as a way of going out and kind of not just being out there to put boxes out there and to help people out, but as Alicia says, to go with what Madison had wanted and to build up a community and to make something out of this, almost essentially starting their own Alexandria-Hilltop. And I love that, and I love the confidence at the end. I love the way they were motoring out. It looked like they were finally getting themselves together. So on one hand, I thought this was a decent wrap up to what was a very mixed bag fourth season of potential, but I'm very excited for the fifth season because I think if this is the route they're going to go, that they are going to define their own backstory from this this point forward, that they are really going to define these characters in the sense of season 4 and moving on. I'm really excited for where the series can go. Again, I think there was a lot of old baggage they needed to shake off, and I think get used to the idea that they were doing something new, but I think they've ended this on a strong enough and promising note that season 5 is definitely going to be something worth checking out.